Hey foodies, I found her, the Black Superwoman, the self-proclaimed Black female James Bond. I am super excited to have this conversation with female stunt woman Carrie Bernans on this episode of There's Food in the House. We're dropping nuggets, jewels, things that you wouldn't expect to hear from a female superwoman. So stay tuned to There's Food in the House.
Ooh, if it's lit, then I'm signing up. I just knock them down, Adrian can line them up. If you search for real talk, then you're finding us. Thanks for reminding us, ain't no outshining us, it's different. I know you feeling something missing. Them shows only talk, they don't listen. You need something warm, like a hot meal from the south. Like a summer rain in a drought. Some real talk that can make a nigga proud. Thoughts out loud, we ain't doing it for the clout. That food for the soul, gotta take a different route. You don't need nothing fast, we got food at the house. I'm just saying though, we got food at the house. Yeah, we got food at the house. Yeah.
Hello, everybody. This is Adrian, your PR diva, and we are coming to you live again from There's Food in the House. You know, this is the podcast where you don't have to ask anyone for anything else. You don't have to search for anything else because we have food in the house. Today, I am super excited about this conversation that I am about to have with this African-American shero, this of old women. I was so excited to see a female stunt woman that I was like, I need to get her on the show and we need to have a conversation. So I want to welcome Carrie Bernans. Did I say it correctly, Bernans?
Yes, you did. Yeah, Bernans.
Okay, Carrie Bernans to There's Food in the House. Hey, Carrie.
Hey, how you doing?
I am wonderful. Thank you so much. So I, again, was super excited. I saw you online on Instagram, social media and everything, and I saw a couple of interviews that you've done, and I was like, wow, this is interesting. I want to talk to her.
Oh, thank you. You're so incredible. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So I was reading over your bio and everything, and there were so many things that stood out. First, I want to say, I know you're from Richmond. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland.
Yes, I live in Baltimore for a bit. What's up? I see.
Exactly. So, you know, are you based in LA now?
Yeah, I am. I'm based in Los Angeles. I live downtown. I used to live in West Hollywood, but yeah, all over LA.
Okay. Yes. But my point was, when we're from the North, it's so different when you move to other places. So I know I'm here in Georgia now. I've been here for about 7 years. So it's completely different from Baltimore, like 1,000% different.
Right. It is for sure.
And I know, I'm sorry.
Oh, no. I was going to say it's cool having the different perspectives, but what were you saying? I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, I was going to say I know LA is as well. I know LA because, you know, I go to LA for work and for business, and it's just so different. It's a whole other world living in LA.
Yeah, it is. It's amazing. I lived a little bit everywhere, but living on the West Coast is completely different. Your mindset changes, like things like, because although I lived like East Coast, I lived in the South, you know, the West Coast just has like, it's so much more laid back and like so much more accepting of people, and just, it's so crazy. The difference is really real.
It is. And so I want to, before we get into the stunt woman of it all, I was just curious, how did you end up being a stunt woman? When you were 5, 10, 12-year-old Carrie, was stunt woman in the plans for you?
No, it wasn't. I didn't even know that stunt people existed when I was 10, 11, 12 years old. I was like, what? It was like something I discovered when I moved to LA, and it was like crazy because I do remember my 10-year-old self. I was just crazy, the girl, tomboyish. I'll be girly girl sometimes, but I played every sport out there. I played football in the streets with the boys, basketball. I was racing people in the middle of the streets, jumping in lakes, all this stuff. And I was just like that girl that did all that stuff, that if I knew that stunts existed, my God, I would have like signed up sooner. It would have been like, run, I have a
So what did you initially want to be, like, before you figured out stunts? Even though I think, you know, if you were any part of a tomboy, you absolutely were doing stunts. But before you figured out that stunts could get you paid.
Yeah, facts. Well, I always wanted to do acting and to get into like voiceover work. But in addition to that, I always been like super entrepreneurship based and like wanted to start businesses and stuff. So like thankfully now my 20 something years of life, I've done it all. Like I'm still acting just as much as I do stunts, and I'm
Okay.
also doing it just as much as running like a couple businesses. So in one way or another, they all come together in ways that, you know, you don't usually expect, because I always played sports. Like, I guess stunts was always in my blood, and doing
Mm-hmm.
action and action movies. Ultimately, as a young girl, I always said I wanted to be a black girl James Bond, because I just never seen any black girls doing action, you know, like that.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that's interesting. And so I know you mentioned some businesses that you have now, and acting as stunt is a portion of acting. So understandably, so when you are doing your other businesses, do those all align together, or are your businesses completely different from the entertainment world?
That's a great question. So I think, well, one of my businesses is called Faith is My Superpower. It's a brand.
Oh, I love it.
It's a brand. It aligns with like my faith side of me, my dream side of me, my you can do anything side of me. So when I give like speeches and stuff and I like motivate people, sometimes I just give free shirts away that says faith is my superpower, to remind people like to have faith no matter where you come from, what the circumstances are and all of that, and kind of aligns with like my life's purpose and like how I grew up. But so it aligns in that way. And then I also I'm working on a production company, which like I'm producing movies and stuff and writing and
Oh,
all of
nice.
that. Yeah, so it aligns. I haven't like went super public with it, but I've done stuff.
Okay.
It's okay. I mean, I have like a web series that I've been producing that we're gonna release on a crowdfunding site in the next couple of weeks, and then I've been working on a few big films like producing side this last year, which I can't really talk about much, but it's exciting. And I sold a company when I was younger as well, on the tech side. It wasn't a whole lot of money because I was really new, but
Okay.
it was good. So I learned so much. So it aligns and keeps me motivated, because I'm not just doing one thing, because sometimes you need that like other thing that keeps you, so you're not focused strictly like driving yourself crazy on acting or stunts or whatever the case may be.
Mm-hmm. And I was going to ask you that. I was going to ask you about the learning experience, and you said you're under 30, correct?
Yes, I am. Yes.
So, and you're under 30, you've already sold a business. And so it was interesting for you to say and to realize that the potential was there for you to get more money. So how did you realize that? And in that moment that you were like, oh no, I could have made more money. Like, how did you feel with that? And what did you take from that experience?
Yeah, for sure. Well, okay, I was a lot younger. I was probably like 19, 20.
Okay.
Well, not a lot younger. I'm still young, but
Okay.
like it wasn't that long ago. But if I've done so much, that feels like it was a while ago.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the thing was, I actually sold my part of the business. So it was like me and this guy co-founded the business, and his family like got sick back in India, and he had to go back. And he was like, "What should you do?" And I was like, "Well, I got to keep going. I have other ideas I want to do. Like either like, hey, like let me take over the business and find someone else, or we figure something out." Then he offered me a buyout plan. And I think because I was just so young, I was 19, 20, I was just like, you know what? That's a good idea. I'll just take the money. And I don't know why I did that, but don't get me wrong. I don't go back and like, wish I coulda, woulda. I don't think that the business has grown too much, but I think it could have been the biggest thing ever, like as far as changing the way engineers do calculations on like cars and stuff, because we had just such a genius idea and we had proven stuff that worked. But honestly, at the time, I just know I should have gotten more advice from people on like, what do you think our company would be valued at? What do you think it's worth? Because it wasn't out in the marketplace, but we did have like private clients that was trying and using our product. So to me, it was valued at a lot more than what I took. Okay. So if I go back, I mean, I always say like you can't go back. You just learn a lesson for the future, and it teaches you a lot more moving ahead. So it made me more wiser going into other deals and plans, that I don't go in it blindly or just accept the first offer and don't negotiate or don't have like an ideal of like, how much is this really worth? I knew like I wouldn't settle for a number, but I didn't know like what was that number, like what was the like actual value that I really, really wanted. Now I have those ideals in my mind all the time.
Right. So I'm sure that's your takeaway. Your takeaway is like, fool me once, never again.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
And so so let's talk about, so you were one of the warriors in, why we always want to say Wakanda Forever. I feel like Wakanda Forever is just like, the movie doesn't even have a name. It's like Wakanda Forever.
Yes.
But you were a warrior, princess, a fighter in Black Panther. So how was that experience? That was, I mean, and obviously that movie was phenomenal. And to be in any part of creating that movie, I'm sure it just has to feel like Wonder Bread or something. I don't even know.
Yeah. It was so incredible because I got to do Black Panther and then I got to do Avengers right after.
Oh, I love Avengers.
Yeah, me too, yo. I was like, it was amazing. It was just definitely, it was a mind-blowing, transformational experience, not only for me as a stunt performer or actor or just in entertainment, but it took my perspective of everything that I saw on my vision board. It can come true. Like, I didn't know how I was going to be flown out business class on a plane somewhere, but I had it on my vision board. And then Black Panther was the one that flew me out from Los Angeles, put me in a nice hotel on like the 22nd or 26th floor with the amazing views. And I remember having a car service every day to go to and from rehearsals, to and from set. And then the biggest process was transformational was when I had to shave my head bald and I had, that was crazy. I was like,
you've never been bald before, I assume.
No, I was always that girl that everybody loved my curly hair. They would always be like, oh my God, you have the best hair ever. Your curly hair is so beautiful. Like that was me. Elementary, middle, high school,
right?
College,
Wow.
So I was like, oh my God, is my hair going to grow back? But I already knew my hair grew long, but I was just like, I don't know what happened.
Right. And I'm sure, and I think that's a side of acting that not everyone understands or is privy to, or they don't, like you said, until the moment happens, you don't realize that this is something that they may ask, like for new actors and actresses coming up, production will say, shave your head.
Yeah, it is the thing. They will ask you. I mean, like, I do know people that said no and they didn't do the movie or asked for vocab and stood their ground on that, which I understand. But this movie was, especially this first one, I think more than anything was just such a moment of like, no, we're going to be 100% real. We want to tell a very dynamic story. And it's a part of the process that Ryan Coogler and his entire team wanted. And then also it makes you question, like, what do you feel that beauty is? Is beauty really because you have hair on your head? Is it because of all of these things that is sold to you on the internet or commercials? Or is beauty like from the inside out? And
wow, that's a good one. Yeah.
Yeah. It really had me embracing my bald head. But I loved it. My hair grew back. I shaved it again. Grew back. Shaved it again. Grew back. After that, everybody wanted me to shave my head for every project. I was like, yo, Jesus, okay.
I was getting ready to ask you, were you shaving it for yourself or for other projects? But it was for other projects.
No, I don't, honey. I only shave my head for other projects,
Okay.
Don't get me wrong. I mean, if I go on this like, wow, it's like I need to figure something out. It's a little different, but yeah, I like my hair. I mean, my hair is growing. It's getting so long right now. It's crazy, but I said, if I had to shave it again for another project, I would absolutely 100% do it for the right money.
Right.
The right project.
So that was awesome. So being on that production set and doing that, so do you feel like that invigorated you more on the traditional acting side or more on the stunt side? What did you feel like you wanted to be in more movies that focus on your acting ability or your fighting ability?
Honestly, both. It like challenged me so much by being on the Black Panther set. Like the stunt performers, our coordinators, our fight choreographer, Aaron Tony, all these people were just like, they were hard on us as like cursing, I ain't gonna lie. But yeah, I felt like I was in military boot camp. I was like, Jesus, Lord God, am I ready for this? But
and so were they strict? Were they more? I'm sorry, but were they more strict than the Avengers set, or do you feel like?
Oh yeah, well the thing is, like, everybody that worked on Avengers for the most part already had worked on Black Panther or other sets, had a lot of credits. So the thing is, like, Black Panther was my like third union project for stunts and for like playing a character actress, like character stunt performer, because I was like in costume every day. So I challenged myself. You know, you're putting on the costume, it's like 20 pounds or however much it weighs, and you go into this character mindset of the Dora Milaje. And then by doing the stunts, you have to be really precise because you have to look like you are in the middle of a battle, like you've been prepared your entire life, got chosen from a village. You were one of the first of your kind. So you can't mess up. You can't be out there half shooting things. They could have chosen somebody else in the village. You know what I mean?
Right.
It was like all these layers that had to be added, and I didn't understand all of them right away. But I mean, I went in and I just like, shit, I jumped into the ocean and was like, I'm gonna have to swim, you know? Or I was gonna drown. And I swimmed, and I had amazing people around me that really pushed me and motivated me, because I was also one of the youngest on the sets too. So I learned a lot from everyone else. And by the time I got to Avengers, I was like, oh, okay, I do this. And plus, I already had my mindset. I already knew like how hard it was, and I wasn't gonna have nobody try to check me or tell me I was doing anything wrong. I mean, I'm good with having feedback, of course, but I was just like, let me come prepared, so then they could be like, oh no, just adjust it a little this way, instead of like, what the hell are you doing? You know?
Right. And so I know you mentioned that you were one of the youngest. So when you look at traditional stunt characters, whether it be male or female, is that more of a, because I know the entertainment industry is obviously, we speak all the time about it being male dominated, but then you have these subsections that obviously female stunt women, it can't be a male dominated industry, but is it more older women? Are they more of different races and not as many African-American stunt women? Or how does that situation look?
That's a great question. It's like, so back in the day, it was definitely a lot more male-dominated industry for the stunt industry, period, as a whole. But as the years, like, I would say maybe like 30 years ago, there was an increased number of like stunt women coming in, but it still wasn't a big thing. Like, especially like Black stunt women, that definitely wasn't a thing. So it gradually grew, and now it's definitely more like 50-50 hour. I would say closer to 50-50. But the thing is, like, skills and assets of like each of the performers. Like, there's some stunts that are really, really crazy that only men know or have learned because their fathers passed it to them and their fathers passed it to their father, type of thing, or brother. And it might be like some crazy car tricks or jumping off of a bridge on a car and then landing it safely, because only so many people have done that. And so many people have been taught that. So, does that answer your question a bit more?
Yeah, so because I was just curious, because I know that there are a lot of positions that women are moving more into, and that we are really trying to level the playing field. But then I know that there are also levels and playing fields for African Americans, for Indian, for Hispanic, for other races and other cultures. So I was just curious to know, like how that looked or how diverse that stunt industry was. And I don't want to minimize you to stunts. We're going to get away from stunts, but I was just curious because
no, you're fine. No. So yeah, it's grown so much. Like, I think over the last 5 years for sure, like I've seen so many more Hispanic people doing stunts, and you have Indian girls doing stunts in India, and that comes here, and you just have a mixed race of a little bit of everyone. I don't think the representation is still all the way there 100%, because there is like a lot of work, which I'm thankful for the work. Don't get me wrong, but the more that TV changes and the more Black people we see on TV, the more that we're going to increase and have the need of more stunt people coming in. Because right now, everybody is like great. Everybody's working. We're making money. We're actually, we can maintain off of saying we're performers. We're only making money from doing stunts or from only doing like stunts and acting, you know, but that wasn't a thing in the past. It was like sometimes only a job would come around once a month for people or twice a month. Now it's like we may be working on an entire series this week, and then next week we might be working on a whole nother show and like staying booked for like 6 months, you know, which wasn't a tradition. And I'm not saying it happens for every single person in the industry, because I know like there is still competition among your other people. Like you have to fit the size of the actor if you're doubling someone, or if you're playing a character, like for a stunt performer, they want you to be matched up. Like if you're gonna be that guy that comes in the bar and be like, yo, what the hell? Blah, 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 blah. They might actually want to look eye to eye. So they might want somebody that's really tall looking at the actor, you know, that looks at him directly in the eye, then take that punch and then go back, or whatever the case may be, you know?
Right. So what was your first acting experience? When was the first time that you got a paycheck that was like, okay, this is it. This was right. I'm where I need to be.
That's a great question. Dang, I gotta go back. Let me see. There's so many things. I can't think of I don't know why. I know I did the show Single Ladies that was on VH1 with Lisa Ray, Stacey Dash, but I don't even remember how much I got paid. And I don't think at the time I was like, oh, I want to be an actress, but I wasn't taking it seriously. When I got back, I probably didn't think much about it. But I'd say like, it's hard to answer that question, but I will tell you this. Okay. Recently, I have posted something on my Instagram, which is called like, it was a audition slate to scene challenge, like scene. I
saw that. Yeah, I saw that one. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I was like debating if I was going to post that. And I did that role like 2 years ago. And I've done other roles since then. So that was on SEAL Team CBS. I've done SWAT on CBS. I've done a show, Ultimate Attack on Fox, Lifetime movie. I've done other films that haven't come out yet. Some later this year, Reno 911, all this stuff. But I was like debating on what I was going to post for this challenge. And I was like, well, this is like a short scene. It was only like a couple words for the audition, but it was just like, I felt like it was really monumental and stuff. But I remember just this audition. That's when the first time I felt like as an actor, like I have a chance in this world, because I sent the audition in, and then I think within a couple hours I ended up booking it. And
nice.
Yeah, which doesn't usually happen. Sometimes it takes 3 days to find out, or you don't find out at all. You know, it just goes to another person. And then I remember it was a stunt coordinator that referred me to this audition that sent it to the director. And the director was like, this girl blew me away. And everybody was just like very emotional watching the audition. And I was like, wow.
Oh, wow.
So then, then when I went on set, and I had like a little 4-year-old boy, and then I had to tell him to pretend like he was asleep. And I remember doing that scene, and everybody, once I finished, everybody was just like so emotional. And I was just like, oh my God. Like I knew it. I mean, it was an emotional scene for me, but it was crazy how it moved the performance. And the director said, you're going to be famous. You're going to be a superstar. You're going to win an Oscar. Nice. And I was like, what? These are the things I tell myself, but you don't have to boost me up. It's okay.
Right.
And I was like, wow. And then they watch these things called the dailies, which is after you do the shots for that day, people rewatch all the takes. Mm-hmm. And then I got a message from the same Julie Michaels that referred me to this to audition for this. And then she texts me, she says, oh my God, they're watching your dailies and everyone is so emotional and crying, and you just blew the performance away. So it was just all this like leading up to it. And then it was on TV, and then I was like, oh my God. But then I was just like, but I was excited, but I was also like, oh, it's such a short scene. Everybody's going to be like, why is this girl promoting this little scene? I've done other stuff before. You know, I did the Black Panther and all that, but still, it was like, I filmed these movies for like a month, 2 months, and then I get in there for like 10, 15, 20, 30 seconds, you know? But then this was like my little one time to shine right there. And then, then I posted it on social media, and I got so many messages. And I posted on Facebook and Twitter and all this stuff, and I just was like, I was overwhelmed by like how people felt like it really moved them. So then I was like, I can see myself in the future. So it just expanded my visions more. And it wasn't that I didn't do like 4 scenes in a project before, or or had 20 lines or whatever, because I've done that now and I've made money. Oh, I got residuals from this. So, yeah.
Oh, nice.
I know that was a long answer.
No, it's fine. Listen, that meant a lot to you. You know, when you go into detail and you are remembering and it brings back those emotions and everything, you know, you did a great job.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, I'll tell you this. The first time I knew I made it in this industry was when I got my residuals. Thank you, Jesus. Okay. But residuals are great because that's the money you make after like DVD sales. Like it's after it's out of theaters and then it goes to DVD sales and then the number of replays on TV and stuff. But then, you know, when you get some checks and it's like, you know, like 6 figures or so, you're like, okay, we can talk.
Right. Now, was this residuals from
Black Panther?
I was getting ready to say those blew it out the park in the theaters.
It did, but we don't make those money from the theaters. That's the sucky part. Like, I wish we made that. But yeah,
okay.
I mean, we did good.
Okay.
We didn't do exceptional, but I mean, it's because it was also a huge cast and a lot of people involved in getting out of the money out of the pool. But I'm thankful. That's why I would say I'm very, very, very thankful because it helped pay my health care, gave me money in my pension. Hallelujah. And then I got other residuals from other projects. So I will say I'm never going to retire. I'm going to work until I'm 99, 102. Like this is Tyson.
Now, speaking of the business side of it and how versatile you are, I wanted to absolutely mention the fact that you speak about 5 or 6 different languages.
Oui, I do.
Oh my! So see, that is so awesome. So I know I saw French, Spanish, Mandarin, Russian. Oh my God, really?
Russian привет, Kapila.
Oh my gosh! So I know that just gives you another notch in the resume, because you can do film practically anywhere, or you know, like you could do some international. So have you ever thought about doing any of these international films or anything?
Oh, 100%. I mean, I've been international. I did X-Men in Canada, but I mean, it allowed me to speak French in Canada. I didn't get to use any of my language skills in X-Men. I wish I did, but not this time around. Next time.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, and I got to work in the Dominican Republic, which everybody thought was Dominican because there are so many dark Dominicans there. Like even production thought, "Are you Dominican? Are you from here?" I'm like, "No, you guys, I'm American." But yo hablo español, sí, like, you know, I would just go and speak Spanish. But to answer your question, absolutely, like I learned languages at a young age. Like I learned Spanish, English at the same time. Then I learned French and Mandarin Chinese when I was like in college. I lived in China for a year and over in France for a little while. And then I have been learning like the more difficult parts of conversational French recently with my friend Rachel over this time. But I learned Russian and Latvian from an ex I was with for like 5 years. And
and you mentioned, I'm sorry, you said you learned English and stuff. So what is your native language?
Oh, it's English is my native language, but we did live in Panama for a little bit when I was younger. And then my mom tried to get us to speak Spanish. And we also had my mom and dad was together for like the first few years of my life. And then they divorced, which my mom was like teenage mom at first. They got married because my grandma had 10 kids and they were trying to figure everything out. My grandma was like, "You having this baby? Go get married. Get out of my house."
Yeah.
Basically.
That's how it used to be.
Which I understand. Grandma had 10 kids. It was sad, but it worked out, I guess, you know. I mean, I'm here, so hallelujah. But yeah, then we had like a Spanish nanny, and then my mom was just like trying to encourage us to speak Spanish. And then I also went to a lot of schools that taught secondary languages, so it worked out too. Although I moved to so many schools, but you know, that was kind of the process.
Now so you're diverse, you have your languages, your business acumen, you know, you've been through so many things. And what do you see for yourself in the near future? I would give 5 years like a near future, but what do you see for yourself in the next 5 years?
That's a great question. next 5 years, oh my God. Next 5 years, I am going to be a superstar.
Okay. I'll be like, I had an interview on here too.
Exactly, baby. But you're gonna see me. I'm gonna be everywhere in the next 5 years. It's gonna be like, people gonna be like, the people that knew me before them, like, yeah, I already saw it coming. The other people that didn't, like, who is this girl? Where did she come from? And I'm gonna be like, I always been here. You just have to look a little bit more right or a little bit more straight. But I'm going to be like leading in big action films, not only doing a lot of my own stunts, but also acting in them. I'm also going to be animating and voicing a lot of characters, which I do animation now, but it's going to be kicked all the way up to like huge levels, doing like Boss Baby stuff or other things like that.
Oh, I love Boss Baby.
Yeah, that's good. Well, hopefully they hear you.
Yes. Yes. We're going to make sure we highlight this.
Exactly. I'm going to be like already on like the 4th, 5th season of like a couple different TV shows I'm starring in. I'm going to be having some films already produced that are in film festivals, already have been won. And then my nonprofit CB Seed is going to be like making a big difference in the world all around for kids and youth that are in poverty. And also, hopefully, like in the next 5 years, we have our rehabilitation center up and going so we can help with the rehab of youth that were incarcerated, in addition to youth that were homeless, like youth and families, and getting them back on their feet. So, and I'm going to be very, very, very wealthy and giving and living like no other and living in my big, beautiful house, and I'll probably have a baby. So, yeah, and I'll be happy, and God will be good, and I'll be good, and I'll be in good health. And my family be good. Yeah. Okay. I try to include all that.
Listen, you get it all in there. This has been a great conversation, Carrie. I thank you so much for your time. I would like to, as we end, ask you to just give people who are maybe struggling with what they want to do or trying to figure out their acting chops or, just moving into a space that works for them. What advice would you give people who were just probably stuck in limbo right now and struggling to figure out how to move?
Absolutely. That's a great question. And you're just saying specific to actors only, right? Or
Well, no, just, it doesn't even have to be specific to acting, just in life. Because, there are some people, I know you mentioned, and I'll say, my son, I have a son who has done some acting.
Yeah.
To your point, he doesn't take it serious at all. So it's like he'll do extra work and he's great. Whenever we go places, people are always like, oh my God, Joshua, you're amazing. You're so funny and everything. But he's just like, thank you. And then on to the next thing. So he just doesn't.
Oh, no, I feel you.
So that's why. So for people who, they may not necessarily know what they want to be when they grow up, even though they could be 30, but they're just like, I just don't know. So what advice would you give them?
Absolutely. I would say this, like, first off, it's okay with wherever you're at, accept that, and just like also decide that you're not going to remain complacent with where you're at, and understand that, it's better to choose something and try something and then realize you don't like it than to like not just to stay and just be going through life, because we only have one life to live, and this life, we should live it to the fullest. I think that if you want to be an actor, if you want to be an entrepreneur, if you want to be a doctor, whatever that is, you first have to have faith and believe in yourself before anybody else. And I also believe that like producing a dream or vision, it's not just a brain activity, it's a heart activity. So if your heart's not in it, then your brain won't follow and things are not going to produce in your favor. But if you think of what that thing is, you start putting action. I always say faith without works is dead. So do something, volunteer, do a list, like create a list of 5 things that you think you're most passionate about. Start volunteering in those areas and see if you're really passionate about it. If you had no money or you had all the money in the world, you could do whatever you want. And everybody always says that, right? But what would you really do? And then if it is acting, then go hop on a set and see if you're willing to be on the set for 14 hours until that shot is finished. If it is being a veterinarian, go volunteer at the animal shelter and see if you're okay with picking up dog poop or a dog throwing up or acting all, crazy at you and stuff. Or if it's being a doctor, go volunteer at a nursing home and see if it's okay with you caring for others and people. But then if you choose that that's what you want to do, once you get that, then faith without works is dead. You can have the faith and believe, but if you put no action in, it won't come to pass. And the same thing, faith is like producing the ideal and feeling that it is already possible. So start visualizing yourself doing that, and then start looking at success stories and say, I am that success story. Write your own dream of like, 5 years ago today, so-and-so did this and this and this, and now they are here. Write your story for 5 years ago today. You're going to write that this is what you produce. Remember that thoughts held in your mind will reproduce in its own kind. I had heard that on this As a Man Thinketh Amazon series. And it's all about like whatever you're focused on, you're thinking about, it will reproduce out into physical form. Thoughts are powerful. Thoughts can produce life or death. So if you continue to feed yourself good, healthy thoughts, then good, healthy things will come. If you feed yourself, negative thoughts and saying like, I can't do this is horrible, then those things will happen. But remember, your brain is powerful. It doesn't know the difference between dream and reality. So just keep pushing, keep going. And you got
I love that. That was that was good.
Thanks, Kara.
That was good. I like, okay, I'm about to write that down.
Yes.
Well, that was so good. This has been a phenomenal conversation. Thank you so much. Let everybody know where they can follow you, where they can look for you, where to find you, and how they can connect with you.
Absolutely. What's up, guys? You can follow me and find me on social media, Instagram at Carrie Bernans, which is CarrieBernans, on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, everything Carrie, on YouTube. On TikTok is my same name, Carrie Bernans. And I'm on a new show actually called The Ultimate Tag on Fox this summer, May the 20th. So if you guys check it out before or after you hear this podcast, depending on the time it comes out, it's going to be banging and good. My character name is The Banshee. It's going to be wild and exciting. Oh, and check me out on Reno 911 on Quibi. Take care.
No, Carrie, because now I got to ask you about Ultimate Tag. Oh, my God.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Oh, my. So, like, okay. So, Carrie. So, Ultimate Tag. So, is it real? Is it reality? But like, is it a competition show? What is it?
Yeah. So it's like the game of tag. Like, tag you're it, now try to catch me. And it's it is interactive reality based. So that means like we don't know the courses we're technically going to take before we take them. We get to see it 10 minutes before, just like the competitors that come on our show. It's like we're the American Gladiators, and the competitors are people that think they can go against us or they're trying to win a prize. So they're competing against each other as contestants, and we are the taggers that tag them and that either delay their time to go or speed their time, or they get past us and then they beat someone else on the time. But it's like really high energy style show. It's exciting. It's fun. It's bringing back the playful side of you. It's doing the things we can't do right now, which is not, we got to stay 6 feet away from each other.
Right.
But it's so much fun. My character on there is completely opposite of who I really am. I play the Banshee. I'm like basically one of the only villains on the show. I'm very mean and very I lure people in on my nice kindness, and I scare them with my Banshee scream, and I tag them and I jump in front of their faces and crazy stuff. So yeah, if you want to check it out, you're gonna be like, what the hell?
I was like, that's why I was like, oh my God, so this is, I'm ready to watch now. This sounds so I understand. So you all are standard characters. So there are characters that are on the show all the time, and then you have people who come on as contestants to try to win money and things of that nature. Is that correct?
Exactly. They're competing against each other to try to win money, and they're playing the game of tag. So they might, in some instances, it's playing the game of like freeze tag. They have to stay still if they get tagged by us. But we make it. We're like exceptional. All of us are pro athletes. We're all exceptional in our own right, and we can tag these people. But some of these people, they may have done CrossFit for 10 years, so they may be fast. There's some guys on there that's like crazy fast. I'll be like, okay. But they can't outbeat the Banshee, okay?
I love it. Okay, all right, for real this time. So, Carrie, thank you so much. We are going to have to continue this conversation because this is just, you have so many good things that are coming your way, and it's just makes for great conversation. So we'll definitely have to do this again.
Yes, let's do it, Layla. Thank you so much. You're incredible. You're awesome. I'm so happy that you did this, Adrian, and I wish you a healthy, happy COVID.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. You all, thank you so much for listening to There's Food in the House. I am going to post this. I want you all to go follow Carrie. She is great. She has great things happening. I know I'm going to be tuning in to Tag and everything else. Not that I won't be watching everything else, but Tag, I'm here for.
Yes, thank you.
So gotta take a different route. You don't need nothing fast. We got food at the house. I'm just saying though. We got food at the house. Yeah, we got food at the house. Yeah, we got food at the house. You don't need nothing fast. Gotta take a different route. Yeah, we lit. We ain't never gonna switch. We lit. We ain't never gonna switch. We lit. We ain't never gonna switch. If it's made for the real, it's forever gonna fit. We lit. We ain't never gonna